Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves.
Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. Welcome to today's show. On today's show we have an episode of Up Ship Creek. And what I wanted to do, you notice on my wall in my office here, I've got a few ships. They're kind of all over. There's got like 6 or 7 of them in here right now. And I've got a couple of empty places that I can put a couple more. So the story goes, I bought this USS Hornet and this Lexington here behind me back in the early 2000s, and immediately got to building the Hornet. But I got to a certain point and I decided I think I want to do photo etch on it, which I don't do well with photo etch. So it sat mostly assembled, mostly painted, but in 3 distinct pieces: the lower hull, the midsection of the hull, and then the flight deck, and I guess the 4th section, which was the island. And I had painted those, but when I painted them, I didn't feel real comfortable with how the paint job turned out, and I used colors I probably shouldn't have used. I'll talk about that in the video. But anyway, about a decade later, I decided to get rambunctious and try the photo etch. So I started putting some of the photo etch on it, and it went pretty well. Turned out okay, but my attention span moved on to other things. So it sat for probably another 8 to 10 years before finally I get this office and I'm ready to put some stuff on the walls. But this thing, it's not quite finished. Thought, you know what, I can finish this in maybe a weekend. So today what we're going to do is we're going to look at what I did to finish up my USS Hornet in 1/350th scale. Now there's not a lot of real fancy things I did. We'll get into that here in the video. I tried to keep it simplistic. There's a lot more I can do to add to detail on this, and you're going to see some fantastic ones out there. But this is just something I'm putting on the wall. It's just for me, and so it doesn't have to be super fancy, but I do want it to look good. So stick with Mad Dog Merv today. We're going to look at some of the very simple things that I used to finish my USS Hornet.
So here's today's subject. It's the USS Hornet as she appeared about the time of Midway. And you'll notice the 3-tone camouflage on it. Really fun camouflage to do. So we're going to do a few simple things. One, either Model Monkey or Black Cat. They both make great 3D printed 20mm Olicons. Absolutely recommend you get these and use them. Don't mess with the photo etch or any of the other crap. These are the way to go. Okay, so we're going to use these today. And for the colors, I'm using Life Color. This is the dark sea blue that is on the lower part of the ship. And then the 5.0, the ocean gray, is kind of the intermediate color through the middle part of the ship and part of the island is this color as well. And then the haze gray, which is what's going to be part of the stripes at the top of the island. So those are the main colors we're going to be using. So it was pretty much assembled. I just had these sub-assemblies to put together and then do the detail work on. Now, I had to build this little housing behind the island that has the director on it because I was missing one of those, and I was missing one of the legs to the tripod mast. You can also see that I had attempted to put photo etch on the funnels and I failed pretty miserably. One of them actually fell off and got lost. But you can see where I'm having to put these 20mm guns.
All right, so we're going to take a look at the upgrades that I've made on this old kit. So to start out with, I got these railings here from this set, which is a 1/350th scale Gleaves class destroyer. And that's these smaller railings that I'm using. I've used a few other parts as well. But since I will never build one of these destroyers, and I have a couple of these photo etch frets, there's some ladders and davits and different things that I can use, watertight doors that I can use on other projects. So starting out with the bow here, I used some Black Cat 20 millimeter 3D printed guns, and I had to put some new anchors on because my anchors were missing. And you can see the old photo etch that I put on, probably 6, 7, 8 years ago. And this is the stuff that I just put on. Now my 538s, I did add some detail to them. Sorry, this camera does not do very good in close-up mode. It gets blurry. I really need to get a new camera here. But I added a few 700 scale pieces, and the fuse pot is actually a 700 scale Japanese anti-aircraft gun, 3-barreled anti-aircraft gun. So just to dress them up a little bit so that they look a little bit better. Someday I'll replace them with some good 3D printed ones. And you can see for the tubs here, I couldn't find those. So I wound up using these, which are a white metal that I got with one of my other 350th scale ships that I'm not going to be using. So I went ahead and used those. Can't remember which kit I got these 1.1s from. They're not from this kit because the ones from this kit have real crappy short barrels and look horrible. These aren't too bad at all. And as I recall, the director is from Very Fire. If I'm recalling correctly, that's what I got it from, was my spare parts box. Anyway, I had to build this. I had to scratch build part of this compartment here because I was missing one side and the top of it, so I had to build that. And I was missing one of these platforms, so I borrowed a couple from a 700 scale U.S. Navy ships. I was missing one yard arm, and that's this one here on this side. So again, I went ahead and used a photo etch one from the destroyer kit. And I was missing one of the legs of the tripod mast, so I went ahead and used some of my stock styrene and built that. Coming down here, we've got the plastic rafts that come with the kit, but I need some for other kits as well, for some of the Pearl Harbor ships. So I actually made a mold of these, went ahead and resin cast several, and you can see one or two places where I've got a resin cast copy that I've had to put in. Again, railing that I borrowed from the destroyer kit, and I had to scratch build this because it was a piece that I was missing again. Several pieces I came up missing over the years that I've had this kit just sitting around, like the pole for the crane. Had to borrow this from a 350th scale battleship, so it's not totally accurate, but it's better than nothing. You can see the 1.1s aren't too bad. These 20 millimeters look really good on there, and all around to the stern. Okay, let's take a peek back here. I've only got one of the 20 millimeters mounted, and I had to use a spare parts piece for this gallery here because I was missing that. And again, this came from the spare parts box as well, so I need to get those painted up. There was considerable problems in getting this to bond properly, so I'm going to have to clean that up with some paint. You can see I've still got to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 20 millimeters on. I've got those in a different location than out here, so I'll get those later today. I decided to go ahead and put one of the B25s on here. I'll probably purchase some more already painted and line the deck with them. But that's how I've decided to do this, even though it's got the radar for midway. For right now, I'm just going to leave the B25 on there, and we'll make a decision later on what we'll actually put on here. Maybe when I get the Enterprise and Yorktown finished, then I'll put an air group of Devastators and Dauntlesses on it. We'll see. So my model, I do it my way. So there you go. So here's some of those resin life rafts. Here, they turned out pretty good. I need to get them painted. And you can see where I've added some new railings. Kind of made sense for them to be there. There's probably some more up top here that I need to add, but I'm not going to do it at this time. So anyway, you get a good view of this side, and hopefully this all fits the way it's supposed to. I did the best I could with what resources I had, let's put it that way. Now I lost the center piece, obviously, in a photo etch for this, and they should have a little bit of a rise to them, which they don't. So I probably should have just left the kit ones on, but live and learn. The center one I had to build out of some wire that I had available here. Let me see if I can find my wire to show you folks what I actually used. Oh, here we are. So this is it. It's some bronze wire. I've used it on my train stuff. I can't remember the size of this, honestly. And I don't have one handy to look at. But anyway, this is what I used to build that. It bends real easy. So it's very easy to work with. I use it for a lot of things on my HO scale trains, and I've used it as grab handles on my tanks, things like that. So very, very versatile. So this gives you some idea of what I've had to do. I went ahead and painted this. I didn't use the decal because, for one thing, I couldn't find the decal, and of course it was just silver anyway. So I went ahead and painted this, masked it off, and painted the stripe by hand. And got it as close as I could to what it's supposed to be. So now we're going to have to do some painting and some weathering to it. But this gives you an idea of where it is just with all the final assembly on it. Now I just got to do some painting.
So the first thing I'm going to have to change is I have used 5S. I didn't like the contrast originally, so I changed colors and went with 5S for the lighter color up here. Well, it's a slight bit of a blue, and it's supposed to be haze gray, so I'm going to have to paint it the right color this time. So we'll go over those light stripes. I'm going to have to paint the funnel area. Well, you'll see how this whole thing turns out. The final look here against the wall on the shelf, as I've now painted this in the haze gray, so it's accurate, looks really good. Painted the mast black and the funnel top black. That all turned out pretty decent, and you can see it doesn't look bad at all. Here's the final reveal on the ship, and it looks good sitting here with that little B25 on it. Like I say, I'll get more eventually. I'll probably put some crew on it. I'll probably put some more photo etch, like the stuff that holds the life rafts into place, those straps. I need to put those on, a few other things. But you know what? For now, this is going to look really good where it's sitting, and it'll be fine for a few more years, I'm sure. My next project is actually the Lexington, which I built right after I built that Hornet, and was in really good shape. I had hung it here on the wall, and then well, something fell, and you can see a bunch of pieces of it are off. So I've got to go back and finish now rebuilding that. So thanks for joining us. I hope you guys enjoyed this.